Mic check, mic check. Welcome to the Second Half Podcast. I'm your host, Jabari Saunders, and here we got my man, Rick Cornett. This is my brother. We go back. I'm really excited for him to share his journey with you guys listening on the podcast. And he's got an incredible story. We grew up playing ball together, so we go back to high school, and I've been able to see this brother's journey and his progression. So without further ado, my brother, Rick Cornett. Welcome to the podcast, man.
Yeah, appreciate it,
my man. Yes, sir. Absolutely.
For having me, man.
Yeah,
it's
man.
good to be here.
Absolutely. So, man, you know what? Let's just start it off, man. Like, where did the journey begin for you? Like, where are you from?
From right here, Chicago, Illinois. Born at Prentice Women's Hospital.
Okay.
And just South Side, South suburbs. Just really shaped me in my younger years.
Yeah. No, that's awesome, man. And tell me, what was that like family dynamic? Obviously, you born here in Chicago. No, it's a tough city, as many people understand that. But like, what was the family dynamic around you that kind of helped shape you into who you are?
Yeah, you know what? It is definitely, Chicago's a tough city. But I've been fortunate to really have both of my parents heavily involved in my life from my upbringing, and they were really focused on just instilling some a sound foundation for me, and really gave me that and just a lot of guidance along the way in everything that I did, whether it was ice skating or tap dancing or playing baseball, basketball, football. They were always there with me every step of the way.
Yeah.
So
okay.
It really encouraged it.
Love that. You had that strong family, backing and support, which is always great.
Yeah.
So as you obviously family, strong support, you mentioned a little bit about some other sports that you were playing. So baseball, that was one of them?
Baseball was one of them.
Okay.
Definitely one of my favorite sports.
Really?
And I was really interested in pursuing it further, but just after high school, the schedules and the demands of potentially playing in college just wouldn't have lined up with what I was trying to accomplish. So I had to leave that behind and, be a fan of it.
Of course. I think we all kind of find that space where we have to make those uncomfortable and decisions. But obviously, you fell in love with the game of baseball, but additionally, you fell in love with the game that I know you known best for, which is basketball.
Right.
When did you fall in love with the game, man?
You know what? Basketball was something that I played because I was tall, and so I found myself out there just really trying to give my best effort. And I was fortunate enough to play in college and play in high school at high levels where we were a part of winning organizations.
Absolutely.
But it was something that I just fell in love with because of the camaraderie, meeting people like you and some of our other teammates. And that really just gave me a sense of brotherhood that was different from just the normal everyday, going through the motions.
Absolutely. You definitely need that strong support system. And I think it's different like with the high school kids now when we played. I think we had a strong core group of people that we trained with, and we made sure that we were always in the gym, right?
That's right.
You have to have that, to kind of keep your journey going, and really your passion is fueling that. And so,
that's right.
Always been thankful to just kind of have that group, and I'm sure you kind of feel the same way,
Absolutely. Yeah, iron sharpens iron.
There you go.
That's it. We definitely made each other better.
So when did you know that basketball was your sport and like you had game?
When I was in high school playing, and we were with the organizations that we played with, and from there started getting interest from colleges. That was really the first part where I'm like, wait a second, this can lead to something else.
Yeah.
And I just to go through that process of courtship, for the universities looking to bring us out.
Right.
That was really interesting, and just let me know that there was something greater that the game could provide.
For sure. What was that recruiting process like for you? Because not everybody had the opportunity to get to the D1 level. You know what I mean? Yeah. So what was that like for you?
It was unique in the sense that I had no frame of reference. For me, it was, I was really the first one in my family to have that sort of attention. in terms of the D1 universities offering scholarships. And so when I was a sophomore in high school, I received my first offer, and it was a mid-major university, and then the second offer came from the University of Notre Dame.
Nice.
And that was my sophomore year. But I ended up at the University of Notre Dame, and it was a great experience, and it really helped me to grow as an individual.
Nice.
And just to learn that life is not always cupcakes, and you have to learn from your challenges.
Right. I think, as you said, you learn from those challenges. You got your first couple of letters as your sophomore year, which is awesome. What was that mental space also that kind of came with that, right? What was that? Where were you at mentally, knowing like, hey, I can play this Division I level. I got coaches in my mailbox. At the time, we didn't really have email like that, but
no email.
Right, they were sending out these bag full of letters to us. Like, did your ego grow a little bit, or did your confidence grow, or where were you at then from a mental space?
You know what? Looking back, I don't. I hope that I was humble. I don't know. I can't say, for sure how I was all the time, but, I was really a bit overwhelmed. Yeah. I remember feeling like, wow, this is so interesting to have the opportunity. And, I just felt like a sense of responsibility, and not to take it lightly, and to not, this wasn't an opportunity to go out and to party for me. This was a chance to go and to further my passions and my pursuits.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
That was how I looked at the process, and I was just excited to have the chance to go to school for, on a scholarship.
Love it.
Yeah.
So one thing I definitely want to tap into, because definitely school is an opportunity for many of these kids, but also there's a deviation between that and the entrepreneurial way. I think for you, I love to kind of understand, like, once you finally stepped foot on campus, what was that energy like? Like, how did you kind of assert yourself? Because when we were in high school, we had each other to kind of lean into. Right. Now we've all gone across the country to our respective schools to go play. But what was that like for you when you finally stepped foot on campus?
Well, I went right after high school graduation. I think I started the summer before most of the freshmen started in the fall. But, to go onto the campus, and, I've been familiar. I would go up there on unofficial visits, and, just spend time getting to know people, getting to know the university. Going into my summer, I had some challenging courses, and it was really like every single day it was a grind.
Yeah.
And I just remember thinking, like, man, this is not easy.
Yeah.
Practicing every single day and having, the responsibility and the accountability from your teammates to, put your best foot forward.
Yep.
That was something that really made me grow up quickly. And, I just felt like that was, I didn't have any time to just give myself props.
Right.
It was just jump right in.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So you just had to dive right in head first and just figure out how to swim when you got there.
That's it.
I mean, that's the level of life. I think that there's some learnings there that you hit on that you even have to take away, and that we probably still using that later on in life as we are today.
For sure.
As you were in college, obviously there's a transition from the training journey that we had in high school to what you had in college. What was that like? Because Notre Dame is known to be a powerhouse with just athletic and sport across the world. For you to be on there, like, what was that like for you?
You know what? It was eye-opening. It was eye-opening. The demands of college athletics were, they really forced you to sink or swim. Yep. And it was one of those things. I'm glad that I had the teammates that I had, the coaching staff that I had, because they drove me to push myself to be better every single day. And that was what it was about, and I think it was something that carried over in life. These guys were always looking to have each other's back. And, I think when you have that, like I mentioned earlier, the camaraderie and the brotherhood, that is something that really can lift you up in the times where you're challenged.
For sure.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome. So while you were there, you had that camaraderie. Did you have any like mentor, some coaches that you kind of confided in to kind of help guide you during your journey?
Yeah, you know what? There were numerous people around us, just to be encouragements, to be beacons of light when we were struggling as a team. it's always great to just have that humanity shared with you, and you're not looked at as sort of just the person who's supposed to produce on the court. You're looked at as a complete individual, and that was something I really took away from my time in South Bend. They were just wonderful people and fans all around us.
Yep.
And we had a great year my first year where we went to the Sweet 16, and we had 3 years afterward that were not as glamorous.
Right.
And so to still have that support was wonderful, and I think being looked at as a complete person and being more than an athlete was something that the Notre Dame experience really put into us.
That's awesome. I think one thing that I love to kind of dive in a little bit more to, like you said, that flex moment of you guys made it to the Sweet 16. Like, everybody's not making it there, and people don't understand how difficult it is to reach that far. Like, was that a goal that you and your teammates set during that time to help get you there, or was that something that you just kind of figured out along the way?
No, I mean, we had great leadership on that team, and the coaching staff. They really had faith in us, and those guys, like I said, just to make each other better every single day. That was our effort. And I remember all the guys on the team like shaved their heads, and it was like, it was incredible because, just a show of solidarity. And I think, that was one of those things that carried us, and it was part of the storyline as we, just fought our way to the Sweet 16, ultimately to lose to Arizona.
Yeah.
But
sounds like that's a memorable moment for you.
It was, man. We had it was a good experience, but it was a fun run.
Love it, man. So you spent 4 years there. Obviously, athletics was really a priority, the reason why you were there. But the other side to it was academics. What was that focus then during that time?
You know what? I did a lot of studio time. I was a visual communications major.
Creative.
Yeah, that's right. A design major. So that was something that I really took solace in. My time away from the court, I enjoyed spending it with other students and just my teachers and the professors that I had that really helped me to have a more open mind. And that was it. The whole experience was grand. It wasn't just relegated to the sporting arena. I think that's the part of college that I really admired and took away.
Dope.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So obviously 4 years, finished up Notre Dame. Then what was next for you?
So after Notre Dame, I was fortunate enough to play professionally in France, and I played there for a few years and won the championship my second year on Antibes, and it was great. It was so nice to live on the French Riviera and spend time there.
Like, what? Most people say, yeah, I'm trying to go to the NBA, so I was grinding, but you were literally playing the game that you loved on the French Riviera, bro. Like,
it was incredible.
Let's go back a little bit, because I think, what do you have to do in order to, what's the process for you? Like, did you have to go try out? Did you have to sign an agent? Did you have, what was that figuration for you that you had to go out and go figure out?
It was fascinating, because right after my last game at playing at Notre Dame, I think we lost to Michigan. That was the last game that we had. And, after that, a couple of days later, I had a conversation with Coach, and he tells me that, there's some interest from agents and from, just organizations looking to have me try out. And so I started the process of just narrowing down who would make the most sense for my situation. And, I was open to the experience, because I didn't have, sort of that line of sight of, okay, this is the step you take to become an NBA player. Right. I had to figure it out, and my parents and, my friends and everybody around me was figuring it out along the way as well. And my path, my journey is going to be unique.
Of course.
So I just really wanted to play the game I loved and travel and have new experiences. I was not guided by, oh man, I just want to try to make it to specifically the NBA. Yep. I mean, I love the NBA, but I respect, all forms and all places that basketball is played.
Yeah. So crazy. So you had the conversation with your coach, you got the agent, find yourself on a plane. You're leaving your family behind. You're leaving your friends.
Right.
Like, you get on that plane, there is no picking up the phone, calling you, somebody to come pick you up on the other side once you got over there. Like, what was going through your mind as you literally were packing your bags and going?
Man, this is exciting.
Yeah.
I have no idea what's going to happen. I don't speak the language.
Right.
But I'm willing to learn.
Yeah.
And I think just being open to the opportunity was what helped me tremendously. Yeah. And then having willing teammates and people around the organization, they all really helped me to adjust.
Yeah, nice. Yeah. So what was that kind of adjustment as you got to the other side? You're with your teammates. It's probably broken English that they're trying to speak to you. You can't speak the language. What are they speaking? French or Spanish?
French,
yeah. So
French.
So they're speaking French. Like, how did you adjust to that, the language barrier? Because I remember my story, but yours might be a little different.
Well, the game is universal,
right?
And I think that once you're on the court and you're practicing your art, I think it all translates.
Yep.
And I think that was one of the things when we could understand each other. There was obviously there's a learning curve playing international rules coming from college and just having a different dynamic, especially when you're training for, who knows, the NBA, it could be the now G League, it could be anything. Yeah. Canadian League, it could be, people play all over the place, Europe,
China,
South America, there you go, exactly. So I really think that it was, it was just an interesting dynamic, man. Yeah. I'll just say just an interesting, interesting dynamic.
I got you. And coming from a creative, you said something right there, just, practicing your art and knowing you had this creative background from school. How were you able to kind of utilize that as you were there in the French Riviera?
Well, it was one of those things where, I was just always inspired. Yeah. I think I was just inspired to do things, whether that was just getting out and exploring or shooting video or taking photos of different things. I was always just inspired. And so I usually took that perspective with me everywhere I went, and I looked at things with a designer's eye.
I love that. Yeah. Taking it with the designers. Because obviously when you're in Antibes, Canary Islands, they're all not too far. Spain.
You're right on the Mediterranean, and it's beautiful.
I'm about to say, that'd be eye-opening. Like, what were some of the places that you either played in that was just mesmerizing, and also the places that you kind of visited at your leisure?
Just being in France in general, it was just a beautiful place. Going to Andorra, which is a principality between Spain and France, incredible. I lived 20 minutes away from Monaco, so spending time there.
Don't they have Formula One racing?
Formula One,
that's
man.
What I remember in Monaco. But
it is an experience.
Driving through cliffs and James Bond-esque type of scenery.
It is. That's around the time of Show Me What You Got, the Jay-Z.
Yeah, the Jay-Z video joint.
Yeah, it was incredible.
That's
so we lived that. And, to go there and to win while you're experiencing that is even better.
Right. So, we have our fans here in the States. Fans are crazy, cool. They'll throw the jersey on. They'll, drink in the parking lot, all of those different things. What was the fandom like there in a space where you won a championship?
There was a lot of pride for each city. Each city that I played in, the fans had a lot of pride for their town and their city. And they would always show up. They would always support. That was something that I loved about my experience there. It was never a dull moment. They were not violent. That's great. When you're playing a sport, you don't have to worry about your safety. Yep. It was just a wonderful experience overall. So, I always appreciated the fans, and they're always there to have an encouraging word or to let you know when you needed to perform better.
Yeah.
Keep you honest, right?
Right, absolutely. So, how many years did you end up spending over there?
I played 3 years.
3 years,
there.
right.
Yeah. Yep.
So, obviously, there was an end that came up. Where were you at mentally that kind of allowed for you to say, it's time to put the shoes up?
Well, it wasn't abrupt ending to it. It was something that was more subtle. I think it was more of a slow hunch that I had that, this is great, but I'm interested in other things. As I mentioned, I look at things with a designer's eye, and I really wanted to design my life in a way that was not revolving around one thing. And I noticed that basketball had really taken up a big chunk of my life. And, to pivot and to be more of a spectator of the sport, that was where I wanted to go. And I wanted to do it on my own terms as opposed to being forced out of the game.
Yeah, there you go. I love that. You made the decision on your own to take your life into a space that you want to get to.
That's it.
Love it, bro. Well, look, here's one thing I definitely have to do. We're going to take a quick 30-second timeout, like what I could like to call. We're just going to get to know you a little bit more, even on a random level, as I like to say. So these are just quick hitter questions. Just answer what's first top of mind, man.
Okay.
All right, you ready?
Yeah.
All right, man. First thing, Skittles or Starburst?
Skittles.
Okay. Favorite place to travel?
In the States or
anywhere in the world?
I like Colorado.
Okay. All right. Colorado. Breakfast or dinner?
Dinner.
Okay. Favorite dish?
My wife's stir fry.
Wife's stir fry. All right. What's you and your wife's favorite date spot?
I would say Colorado.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I love that. What is an album or artist that you can listen to for the rest of your life?
Stevie Wonder.
Okay. Who was the toughest player you ever had to play against?
There's been a lot of really good players. A lot of really good players, man. That's tough. That's a tough one. I played on the same team with LeBron James. We won a gold medal in Colorado at some point. Colorado.
If you're throwing LeBron out there, he's pretty tough.
No, there you go.
I think I heard of that guy.
Yeah, that's right.
What was your favorite game shoe to play in?
In high school, I used to play in the gold flight posits.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
you had those.
Oh, great!
Those were fire though. I think I had the blue joints.
Those
were fire.
So nice.
Love it. All right, last question, man. What was the last book that you read?
The last book that I read was
that you felt inspired by, shall I say? That helps.
Recently, The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel is one that I recently read. But I read a lot.
Dope.
And so
yeah.
So
no, that's dope. Might have to check that. We'll definitely add that to the reading list to make sure that not only we get the chance to kind of talk about it, but even those tuning into the podcast, they get a chance to listen to. So that was a quick 30-second, a little quick 10. Yeah, man. So as we've talked a little bit about, the first half of the journey, man, let's transition into the second half. So let's talk about a little bit like what you're doing now. Like, where you at now?
Yeah, so I am currently self-employed. I'm a business owner and operator.
Entrepreneur.
That's right. Yeah, I'm an FAA CFR Part 107 certified remote pilot.
There you go.
And so I fly drones for commercial photography and cinematography. And it's a great experience. Man,
that's crazy. So you're out here flying drones, as we see in many commercials. Every time you turn on the TV or look on YouTube or whatever, you're the one who was the pilot that's flying these things around. How'd you get inspired, or how'd you get into that?
It's really interesting. I have a friend who works in the film industry, and I mentioned to him that I was looking to make a pivot from what I was doing, working in media, and just to try new things and to use my creativity. And he says, I'm going to send you something. And he sent me a drone in the mail.
Wow.
And I didn't know what to do with it. And so I just started doing my research, and I found some really cool use cases for it. And from there, I found out that you have to be licensed or certified to operate them commercially. Okay. And so I went through the process and passed the test, got my certification, and here I am.
That's awesome. And so you mentioned something that you started off a little bit in media. You had that media background. Is that what the first kind of step was for you in order to begin the post-career journey?
Yeah, so after basketball, it was, I wanted to do something different. I wanted to do something that I could build on. And, building relationships, doing things that were interesting, consuming things that were interesting. That was really where I saw myself going. I didn't know what that looked like specifically, but I was fortunate enough to get into the media industry and working in television media. I did that for more than 10 years. And so recently I decided to pivot away from my role with my last company and to go off on my own to really pursue something that I'm passionate about. And that's being an unconventional guide, just trying to help people to make sense of their passions.
Yeah, no, I love that. I think that we all kind of live in this space of we can either work here, kind of do the kind of day to day, or you can kind of venture out and challenge yourself in a different space. And you were able to find that post media, which is awesome. Before we kind of even dive a little bit further into the drone space, but kind of wanted to unpack a little bit in that media space, because I think that there's a lot that's going on in the world centered around media, podcasts, journaling, you know what I mean? Like social media is a form of media, if you will. There's an art to it. Obviously the long form television, documentaries, Netflix, all of those different things. How was that kind of in your space at the time? Were you working on things such as that, or where were you at there?
Yeah, so I started off in the cable space and really working in sports and cable. That was great. It was really interesting, helping to actually take NBA TV from being not rated to being a rated network. I was involved with that process,
right.
And to be on that team as that stuff was going on was incredible. To really see how the audience grows on the linear side of the business.
Yep.
But from there, I was able to shift and go to other organizations. And my last one, I just left, I left my company. I was at Warner Brothers and then moved into Warner Media for a bit into the portfolio sales side. Yeah. And so, just doing that, it gave me greater experience. And I was able to see the dynamic shift, from just the linear space to the digital space to streaming, and just how that has evolved.
Yep.
And I think it will continue to evolve.
Yep.
And, just really meeting people where they are. That's the important thing.
Yeah.
And getting the right message to the right people at the right time.
Yep.
That's paramount.
I love it. It sounds as if you learned quite a bit. It's also funny that, the game of basketball did not necessarily go away for you, right? The game still stayed around, just in a new space.
That's right.
And there are other ways that you can still follow and achieve your goals of playing in the NBA or being a part of the NBA through a different, industry or format, which is awesome.
Different channel. And like I mentioned earlier, to be a spectator, I was able to experience games in a whole new light.
Yep.
Shifting from player to to being a fan.
Yeah.
And it was great. It was really a nice transition.
I love it.
Yeah.
Did your family, obviously your supporting cast, your wife, did they have any angst about you transitioning from the game into, media career? Did they have any of that, or reservation?
I think the normal stuff,
Yeah.
just, I hope that they're hoping that I'm happy, and that this transition, just goes well for me. I think that's something that, they care about more than anything.
Right.
Not so much, oh man, this sucks that you're not going to be playing basketball anymore. They've always been supportive.
Yep.
So I've always had that, and I feel fortunate to be in this position.
Dope.
Yeah.
Love it, man. So being in that position, again, you said you transitioned from that media world into the entrepreneurial space. What were some of the things you had to learn? I know you mentioned for a second you had to get a license in order to fly your drones. What other areas did you have to kind of calibrate and learn some things?
Well, just your aeronautical knowledge and understanding sectional charts.
Yeah.
Being able to read METAR reports. These things are
what?
Yeah, it's these are things that as a pilot you have to really be aware of, and understanding the different classes of airspace and what your restrictions are. there are a lot of rules and a lot of regulations. And so they want to make sure that the people who are vetted and who become pilots are responsible and they are accountable.
Yeah.
And so, I take this seriously, and, it's not just about doing, flying drones for cinema, but there are, you can be a surveyor, you could do thermal imaging, you could do modeling, you could do so many different things. It could be used for insurance adjustments. So many use cases for drones. And so I just find that, the more I learn, the more I want to learn about it.
Love it. I love the fact that you've kind of self-taught yourself within this space. You know what I mean? Not only just being a creative from college and learning the books and pages that you go through and sitting in class, but you also transition to just learning on your own. What were also some of those things that you were able to kind of, or I guess more so avenues that you were able to kind of get into to understand, like, where do I go find, like, where's the first place that you looked out to just get that information?
Information is out there. I think it's important to be resourceful.
Yep.
I think first and foremost was identifying what I wanted to do.
Yep.
And once I figured out what I wanted to do, I started researching every iteration of that keyword. So whether it's a search engine or going to a library, whatever I could do, talking to people who work in that field, I tried everything possible to make sure that I was connecting with people where I needed to connect with them. And so I did as much research as I possibly could. And when I ran into what I felt was a dead end, I just turned around and tried something different. So it ended up working out.
I love it. Man, it's something I love about this that I keep hearing kind of over and over again. But what were some of those things that you took away from playing in high school, being on court, using that camaraderie, also as you did in college? What were some of those skills that you took from then that you were able to apply now today in what you're doing?
There were two big things. Like the first thing is discipline.
Yep.
I think that discipline is something that could really help you to create good habits. And I think that the good habits turn into consistency, and then that consistency helps you to get where you desire to be, or at least in that orbit. And the other thing is communication. And I think, whether you're communicating with a team or, you're communicating clearly with yourself, I think it's important to have that communication and to use your ability to communicate. Because if you don't communicate, then you will be told where you need to be and what you need to do, as opposed to having some say-so in your own life.
There you go. I mean, having that plan that's spot on right there. That's the first thing you have to decide next to figuring out what it is that you want to do. Like, that's the next step that you need. And so one of the things you mentioned there was just about having a habit. What's kind of like your day-to-day rudiment of how you formed yourself this habit to kind of get after your goal?
Well, I get up early. I like to do exercises, whether it's push-ups, running, some sort of
get the blood
something
flowing.
That's challenging. Yeah, something that's not easy.
Yeah.
And after that, my day sort of lines up however it needs to, whether it's coming and working with you on a podcast or working on some other project. I try to keep things in line, prioritize as needed. Yeah. And just staying on top of things. And then if I don't have anything, if I have some free time, I try to utilize that too, whether it's resting or, learning something new. I try to make sure that I'm using the time properly. Absolutely. Because that is our most precious non-renewable asset.
Isn't it? Right. Spot on right there. Like, you have time, and I can't get the time that I just used the last 20 minutes but the thing that I love about the time being spent is we're doing something to fulfill our passion.
There you go.
You know what I mean? Speaking of, like, hearing about you talk about it is incredible to just kind of learn from you and understand, well, opportunities are out there, It's
purpose, right? It's understanding our purpose and then aligning with that.
Yep.
As opposed to fighting against that and trying to do things because other people are doing them, because we see it as cool, but we don't really have interest.
Right.
We need to align with our purpose.
Absolutely.
And then walk in that and be confident in it.
Yeah, I think walking in your purpose is so powerful there. I think when you figure out what it is that you really want to do and you're inspired by it and you wake up every day and you're like, I want to get right to it, that's when you know you found something. Right. Do you agree with me? You know?
Absolutely.
Like, and then from there, you're able to just kind of manifest what it is that you want to get after. You write those things down, you plan it out, and you get after what it is. You put that right foot forward and you go.
That's right. That's right. And you just hit the nail on the head. Putting that foot forward, taking action. Yeah. That's key. Yeah. And just manifesting your destiny the way you want to see it is possible.
Absolutely. So, entrepreneur space, where are you now within that? Did you create your own company? Are you still trying to figure it out? Are you still in the process of writing your plan? Like, where are you at now in your journey?
Creative X Canvas is my company.
Okay.
And it is a collaboration with other individuals who are professionals, really just dynamic in what they do, whether it's business development, it's cinema, photography, storytelling, writing. I've been fortunate to be around people who have been excellent at what they do since I became a visual communications major in college. And so now taking that to the next level, it's web development, just really being able to be resourceful in contracting and subcontracting based on the project's needs. Yep. So that's where you can find me now, whether it's, flying a drone and getting aerial footage, or if it's something else. And I'll actually be working on a show coming up here later this week and for the next couple of months. That's awesome, man. You know what, for our young podcast watchers, something you said is, one is being resourceful. I definitely want to come back to that. But I think something that you kind of said of like how you are contracting, you are using your resources to get things done. Can you explain a little bit about like what that is? Because if I was just kind of looking at it, it's like you're doing all of this on your own. Like you did website, you got this up. You know what I mean? Like tell me a little bit about what that even looked like. Partnership is a big piece of this. Yep. It's not about me. It's not about, the ego dies every single day.
Yep.
That's something that's important. Ultimately, it's about the person who is the user's experience, and what can someone gain from listening to what I have to say or seeing something that I hopefully share that inspires.
Yep.
You're the hero. I'm just the guide. And so I think ultimately it's about knowing that you're trying to help someone else. It's not about yourself. When you make things about others, I think that you will find the path that you need to go down.
I love it. Making things about others, you're helping other people. So obviously for you, it's not about the money at all.
It's, it's money's a tool. Right. Money's just a tool. I can't, my life is not centered around the tool. It's about the utility. It's about, how much space can I create so that I can do the things that interest me, so I can help someone else, so I can walk in my purpose. Now, yes, money is great, and it helps us to have more time to do things that we want to do. Mm-hmm. But that is not the sole pursuit of any of this.
Yeah.
I think that's a byproduct of excellence.
Yep. How important is your network to be a part of your projects that you're doing?
Incredibly important. That's what this is. Without the network, it doesn't exist. I think that we are all connected. What is it? 6 degrees of separation, which is probably even closer now.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I believe that we are all connected somehow, and each one teach one. And the things that I learn and the things that I share, it's not out of nowhere. These are things that have influenced me and inspired me, and now I'm inspired to inspire. And hopefully, people can walk away from our interactions and feel inspired and positive.
For sure. So obviously, you're a father now, right?
Yes.
Family, married. How is this kind of, not necessarily like held you up, but has this kind of put time spent away from them, or has this allowed more time with your family to just kind of, has this taken away any of that energy and that time?
Never takes away any of the energy. I think that, there is it's not always a comfortable, conventional experience of, oh, dad is here right now, we're going to go do this. We're fortunate to have family spread throughout the country. And so we spend time with our family, and, our children are travelers. And so it's one of those things where they understand that when we're, working on different projects, we may be away for a little bit of time, but ultimately we communicate constantly several times per day. We spend a lot of time together when we are in the same place, but we don't spend so much time apart.
No,
and so
awesome.
it's okay. The beauty of it is that we manage our time as entrepreneurs, as creatives. So it's wonderful.
Absolutely. I love it. I love it. I always got to ask that, talking with dads and just understanding that dynamic and having the right balance, because it's important, but I also understand like this is just as important, like your endeavors, your career, where you're headed, your goals. And I think it's important as well that, our children are able to see that.
That's right.
So they can figure out what it is that they want to do. And not only just our children, but even the ones who are watching.
That's right.
The ones who are, hey, I want to be like that, or I want to do that. Like, we want to make sure we're continuing to inspire them.
That's right. Be an example, and it's a ripple effect that happens. For
sure. So here's something. What would you tell your younger self, and to those who are listening on the podcast, what would you tell your younger self of those things that you've been inspired by, or where you are, and just kind of what advice would you give them?
Telling my younger self to just be confident in what you like and just do what interests you, because those who are supposed to be in your life will be there, and don't worry about the distractions and the noise.
That's it. I love it. Like,
that's it.
I think, what I love you said that distraction of noise, because there are so many different things channeling the different neurons in our brain. You got instant access to our phone, instant information. You're constantly trying to keep up with the times in some spaces. How do you kind of create the purity and the lanes that you need to reach that success and where you're trying to take Creative X Canvas?
I'm fortunate to have such a strong support system. My wife is incredible. The way that she's able to really shoulder a lot of the time with the children where I need to maybe focus or read or learn something new. She does a great job of creating space. And I think it's that partnership that has really helped me to get to a place where now, I can really be confident in the, what is coming about. And, that's really it. Again, it's nothing without the support of the people around me.
Love it. Shout out Jackie for that one.
That's right.
Appreciate it. Looking back, or not even looking back, I think you've really said it all, but what's next? You mentioned you're going to be flying drones commercially here in a few months. What's that look like?
Yeah, so I'm going to be working starting next couple of days.
Nice.
On that, and then just other opportunities. I'm available for different discussions if people are interested in pursuing some big projects, small projects. I'm interested. I'm a listener. I'm someone who likes to, help people to solve problems. And if there's someone looking for that sort of help, please take a look at creativexcanvas.com and let me know how I can be of assistance and my team and the team of people that I have around me. Awesome.
Anywhere else that they can follow you at, Instagram or LinkedIn or anything like that they can tap in?
Absolutely. So the LinkedIn is L. Rick Cornett II, and then on Instagram, it's Creative X Canvas is where you can find the content, some of the stuff that we're shooting with Creative Canvas.
Love it, bro.
Yeah.
Man, really appreciate you sharing your story,
Thank you,
telling
man.
us
It's
about
an
your
honor.
journey, man. I'm really excited to see what happens with Creative Canvas. I, too, will be in tune with that for sure.
sir.
And really appreciate you being episode
Bro,
1 in
this is
the
great,
books.
man.
My
This is
man
great.
starting the
I'm so
journey.
happy for you, man.
Yeah,
This is
absolutely,
wonderful.
man.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
For all you guys listening, thank you guys for tuning in. Be sure to hit the subscribe button, hit the like button if you like the content. We'll make sure we throw the information up there for you to come and follow both of us. Also, check us out on anywhere you listen to podcasts, Spotify, Apple Music, Stitcher, whatever. Keep it locked right here. Another episode coming to you guys soon. Peace.